the double crochet everywhere. I'm trying to get this straight on here. And now we're going to do double crochet all the way around. Now, I have the 2 chain separation. For the ones that are creating the rugs with 8 ply, you can do only 1 chain because it's thick enough to give you that space. But if you have done the 2, don't worry about it. Just do 2 double crochet per each square we have here, and then continue on double crochet over double crochet, grabbing back loops only, because on the other video, my rug, I have only 1 chain separation with that thick with the thick thread, because it's thick enough. It gives me, and I didn't do it tight, I did it pretty loose. But like I said, you know, if you have the 2, then do 2 do on the 2 space separation, and do your 2 double crochets, okay? Which I should explain myself right from the start that I didn't. Just, you know, sometimes you just can't remember everything. But like I said, it doesn't change anything anyway, because it's obvious, you know, if I was to do only 1 chain with this small thread, it would pull too much on my pattern, because it's the thread is thinner. So that wouldn't be good. I would have my pattern all crumpled up. But for people that are using the 8 ply, and if you make it loose enough, 1 chain separation between all your squares is enough. It's not necessarily to do 2 chain separation. But if you have done it already, don't worry about it. Just leave it as is. Doesn't change anything on the pattern. You're just going to add 1 more double crochet to it, that's all. And instead of crumpling up so much, well, it's going to be nice and loose, so you're okay with it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And same goes, I told you earlier over here where you have, if some of you did the 2 chain, and I said you can do 1, well, you can do 2. Just do your 2 if you have. If you haven't, don't worry, do the same amount on this side. You have to do the same amount no matter what. Same amount on this side as on the other side. The only thing that's going to do to the pattern, it's going to make sure that it's flattened out. Nothing is going to be pulling, which is fantastic, especially for the people that have very tight stitch. This is perfect for them, because there is, I mean, I have a very tight stitch, but there are people that are worse than myself, so I could just imagine how it will pull, and it's going to like really look funny. So do your 2 double crochets inside of the space, since we have the 2 chain separation. I had to do the 2 chain on this one because this is a 4 ply. It's very thin, and if I did 1 chain only, then it would really be pulling a lot. But with my 8 ply that I did the rug, it's a 1 chain that I did because it's thick, very thick thread. Okay, so we're going to proceed, continue on just doing double crochet, grabbing back loops only. 1 per space. So where you have your 2 chain separation, you're going to do your 2 double crochet. Oops, I was going inside of the middle. We don't want that. We want to grab back loops only. You don't have to, people, by the way. I mean, if you want to go just directly in the middle of the space here, you can. You don't have to grab back loops only. I do because I like to have that effect. But if you don't want to, you can go directly inside of the space. You know, if it's more easier for you, then, and you don't mind to have this, it's going to give you like this little line effect all the way around. You can just go directly into the space itself, if it makes it easier on you. Okay, so do this all the way around. and I will meet you at the end. Coming out pretty nice. Okay, so you see it's nice and flat, nothing is pulling, which is perfect. And I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I pretty much finished doing all my double. I've cut in my thread and tucked it in. Now I'm changing color, I'm going into yellow, just to spice it up a bit. And we're going to do the poof sideways stitch. So we're going to start here, and we're using back loops only. Okay, so I'm going to start right here on the first one, and I'm going to do a single. Try to hide my thread. Now you want to stretch it a bit. Make sure that I don't get off camera here. So stretch it a bit. We're going to go in 2 times. Make sure you give it a nice stretch in order to have that same size of poof. I think this is too large. Hold on a second. And because it's probably the first one, you probably want to do so we're supposed to grab back loops. I'm going to grab the first one just to secure it in, and then we'll grab back loops for the rest of the other ones, okay? So give it a nice little stretch. We're going to come back in 2. You have to do it 3 times. And this is the 3rd time. Now, we're going to skip 1, and we're going back loops only. Give it a nice stretch and close it in. Just like that. So now you have your poof sideways. Now, the one that we closed in, our first stitch here, we are going to come back in, and we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip 1, go into the next back loop, stretch it, give it that same height. I'm going to give a 2 chain separation to make sure, or at least 1 chain separation to make sure. So 1 chain separation, I think it should be good. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Close it in. 1, 2 chain. Oh, made a mistake. That's what happens when you don't pay attention. I gotta come back here. We don't close it in. We have to go into the next, skip 1, into the next one. We'll get it. Now we close it in. Now we're gonna do 1, 2. We're gonna come back here on our first one, right here. 1, 2, 3, skip 1, incomplete. We're not, now we're going to close it all together. One, 2. We're going to come here on the first one. So 1, 2, and 3. Skip 1, go to the next one, and now we're going to close it all together. So you're going to have your line poof sideways. 1, 2. Again, come on your first one. We're going to do our poof. We're not going to close it. We're going to leave it incomplete. Can't remember if I did 2 or 3 anyway. Skip 1, go to the next one, back loops, close it all together, 1, 2 chain. Remembering that I'm using very thin thread, so of course it's not going to be the same size as the original one. So 2, 3. You leave it the same length. 1, 2. You skip 1, you go to the second one. Pull through. 1, 2. And we're going to do this all the way around. 2 and 3. We're going to skip 1 and we go to the next one. And now we're going to close it in. 2 chain. And this is what it looks like. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. Okay, so again. 1, 2. I think I grabbed the wrong one from the previous row. Gotta make sure I don't grab that one. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, going to the next one. 1, 2 chain. Much easier to do with this thread than the 8 play. Was very difficult for me to pull through. 2, 3. Skip 1, go to the next one. Back loops, stretch it out. 1, 2 chain. And this is how we're going to do the poof all the way around. So, okay, we're going to do just a couple more times. I might have to go to video 2 because it's going to take too much space on this video. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, go to the next one, pull it all out. 1, 2. We're going to come into the first stitch here that we grabbed from the next space that we skipped. So 2, 3, skip 1, go to the next one, stretch it out the same size, same height, and 2 chain. Again, 1, 2, 3, skip 1, go to the next one, and close it all together. 2 chain. Okay, so basically we're going to do this all the way around on this row. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're reaching the end, as you can see. So I'm doing my last poof, skip 1. And I'm coming to my last space here. And I'm going to grab it where I have the other poof, like that. And 1, 2. And just close it in here on the top. With slip stitch. I'm changing thread. And I'm going back to the multicolored purple. Now next row is going to be very simple. It's just single crochet all the way around. So nothing to it. I'm just hiding my thread in between because the next row is going to just overlap the leftover threads here. So we're going to do the slip stitch knot. I'm going to come to the beginning of our motif here. Right on the first one here. And we're going to go in and do singles. Just pulling my thread here. Right inside. We're going to do 2. Next space. 1, 2. Next space. 1, 2. Now, because I'm using a thinner thread, I thought maybe I have to give 3, and if I do, then I'll do 3, but on the 8th ply, it's 2 chain per space. Now, when you come here to where your 2, make sure you give another one in here. So you're going to have 3 on the same space because we don't want to be pulling. And don't tighten it too much, or you're going to have a very hard time afterwards, because then it's going to start pulling too much on the pattern. So try to loosen it up a bit, not like baggy, but enough loose. So we're going to do the, oops, made a mistake. I have to come back here where we have this one here, and we're going to do 3 inside just to make sure that nothing is pulling. So I'm going to put 1 here and 2 in here. Because this is the curve, so if your stitch is not enough or loosen enough, it's going to pull. So we're getting here to the last one again. So I'm going to put right here where the poof is. I'm going to put 1 there and then 2 right after. Or you can put it in the same space, doesn't matter. I'm just doing it because I have enough thread to do it. It's thinner, so. And even that, I have to make sure that it's not pulling. No, I think I'm okay. So I can give it a little bit more light. One, 2, I'm going to put 1 right in here, and then continue on with 2. Now, if I needed to do 3, I would have. But it's normally 2 on the 8th ply. Put 1 here, just 2. Get it to loosen up a bit. And put 2 in here. because I already did one here, so that means my 3. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around, and I'm going to check if I have too much time on it. I am going to continue on with the second tutorial. Hopefully there's not like too many minutes already. I hope not. Okay, so do your round and I'll do mine. So I've come to the end. I did my 2 singles. And I'm changing my thread to the cream again because we're going to continue doing the cream stitch. Just gonna try to make a knot here because I want to make sure nothing comes apart. And just pull the thread because the other next row is going to cover up these stitches. Try to get a little bit more light. Okay. So we're going to come to the beginning here again in the same direction as we have this stitch here. So I'm going to put my stitch in the same direction because we're creating the same motifs, the 5 motifs that we have here. We're creating the same thing. So 1 single, go up 2 stitch or 3 depending upon your thread. Now I'm grabbing back loops only. So here we left off 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we need to do 11. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I really didn't want it to be too much off. Let me just check something here. But we have to come over a little bit more. It has to be lined up or else it's going to look funny. We don't want it to look funny, right? So I'm going to push over this way. So 1 single, 2 chain. Okay, let's redo this again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I would have my 11th there. 2, 3 back loops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm just going over, I'm not putting on the same space, okay? Next row we'll put on the same space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to do 1 chain. And again, we're going to skip 1, 2, and we're coming in to the third, which is going to line you up with this one here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I think they look pretty lined up. 1 chain, we're going to skip 1, 2 on the third one, and we continue on. Two, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I'll meet you at the beginning over here. So we're going to finish doing the rest of them. Okay, so I finished doing my 11. Now I want to be lined up over here where my double crochet is. So 2 chain. So I need to come here. So that means I am going to grab back loop, sorry, right here. And I'm going to do my 3. So we have to have the group of 13 double crochets. So we need to have 13 groups of 3. So I'm going to do 1 chain. I'm going to skip 1 and I'm coming into this one. So 1, 2, 3. 1 chain. Skip 1. Just want to make sure that I'm lined up. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to skip 1, 2. I'm going into this one. Just have to line up the first row here. And then you're good to go on the next rows. Because you don't want them to be too far apart or too close. So I have 1 here, so I need to line it up over here. I'm going to skip 1 and I'm going into the second one. So depending upon your stitch, you just have to line it up. Sometimes it's not a question of skipping 1 or 2. So we have it lined up. 1 chain. I need to line up the next one, which is right here. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going into the 4th space here. It's quite different from the thinner thread to the thicker thread. It falls into place with the thick one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1 chain, and I'm going to line it up right over here. So I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3 on my third one. Line up yours and you see if you have to skip 1 or 2, because it really does not change anything on the pattern. This is only just a little effect that we're giving to the pattern. Oops, one chain. So don't stress about it. 1, 2 on my third one. It's not like we need this row here. This is just more of a decoration row than anything else. One chain, so I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go here on the fourth one. As long as you have your groups lined up, then you're good to go. 1, 2, 3. On my fourth one here. One, 2, and 3. One, 2, and 3. And that just happens to be because it just happens to be, not because there's the right amount count into it. One chain. 1, 2, and 3. Now remember, you have to have 13 groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need one more, which we need to line it up over here. So 1, 2, and 3. I think, let me just recount this, make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we gotta do the 13. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One chain. Now, I have to have it lined up again. So I'm going to skip one. I'm going to bring it right in here. And continue to do my 11 double crochets. I hope I wasn't too much off camera. This is horrible of me. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to measure it exactly like we did with the blocks on this side. You're going to do to the other side the same thing. Have your 13 groups of 3 inside, following the same direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. One chain. So we're going to follow this direction here. So I'm going to skip one, going to the next one, and proceed the same way. So people, I am going to go to part 2. So I will see you in part 2 of this tutorial. So continue your row. Make sure that when you get to the side, that you do on the same direction as your other groups from the previous row. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. One more. Okay, so make sure on this side, when you're doing starting to do your group, over here, you're going to line it up, and you're going to line it up right here, your 3. Then give it your 1 chain or 2 chain. I don't know how much you're separating, depending on your stitch. Remember down here I was doing 2, now I'm doing 1. And then you follow up. Okay, so you have one group here until you have the same follow-up. Okay, and of course here you're not going to have the same follow-up here. That doesn't matter, because then the next row we're going to continue with, it's almost the same thing as doing this all over again. Okay, so you see down here we have this one, so it becomes this one, and then we're going to continue. We're only going to do 3 rows of that, and we're always the next rows we're going to add 1 again on the end here. Okay, so that's what you probably should do. Anyway, I'll come back to you with it so you don't stress over it. Okay, so just continue your pattern the same way as I've been telling you. And you should be good to go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 1 chain. Don't tighten it too much, and then we're going to follow right here. I'm going to skip 1. That's just because it happens to be 1, not because it's necessarily has to be 1. It's where it falls at this point, because we're like recreating the first row all over again. So we're going to count our 11 double crochets here again. And we're going to do 3 rows of these. But anyway, we'll continue on the second part of the video. Let me see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 1 chain. I'm going to skip 1. I'm going to skip 2. I'm coming into the 3rd. So you see, it's not like it's a sequence that you have to like skip 1 and then go into it. It just depends how it falls into the group down here. So you measure it by eye, and you know if it's falling directly on top of the other one. It's just to be lined up more or less the same. Not necessarily it's probably going to be exactly the same, but we'll give you more or less the same effect. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 1 chain. So we're going to fall right here. So I'm going to skip what? 1, 2. I'm going to do my 3. 1 chain, and I'm going to fall right here. So I'm going to skip 1 and go into the next one. And I have to have 13 also. So here, skip 1, going into the second one. It's just to give you more or less a good lineup with the bottom one. One, 2, 3rd one. For me, I mean, it could be only 2 for you. 1 chain. I'm going to skip only 1 here. 1, 2. I'm going to go into the third one here. Going into the second one here. One, two, and I'm going into the third one here. As long as I have the 13 groups and they follow more or less, we're all good. Because then the next rows are easy. It's just to get these first ones here. One, two, three. One, two, three. So on my 1, 2, 3. One, two. I should have 13 in here now. I have to go back and count. And one chain and close it up on third space here. So let's just go back and check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. So you guys, I'll see you on the second tutorial. Thank you so much, everybody.